Ooh, feels like a while since I've done one of these, because it has been a while since I've done one of these. I think it was in July was the last time that I came out walking with my dog with you guys. Of course we come out here every day, but it's been a while since I've done a little update, and I thought I'd give you one tonight just because, well, for a couple of reasons I guess, but firstly because it's been a while. And this is going to be around the weight loss aids that we all know I've been using for quite some time now. It's actually been 11 months since I started taking them. 11 months. And I think really, just to jump straight into it, I've had a good summer. I've had a really cool summer actually. I've done a lot of good things this summer in terms of we had a family holiday and I managed to achieve a few PBs in my running. I got my 5k, my 10k, and of course more recently I got my half marathon PB. So it's really been a good productive summer in terms of my fitness anyway. Yeah, I really can't complain about how that's gone. And how it's going, it's actually going really well, but I might mention that again shortly because we've got a challenge coming up, but I think you may have already seen that video. But I know that I do have two slightly separate audiences that watch my videos, some that are here for the running and others that are here for the weight loss. So you may not have watched it. But yeah, I've had a good summer, like I say. But I've also had, when it comes to the weight loss aids, I've not really been thinking too much about them, is the truth. I have been continuing to use my weight loss, I'll say it once, but I'm not supposed to say these words, but I will say it once. My weight loss injections. They don't like you to use the I word. But I have been using them over the summer, but at a lower dose. And I've really not been paying too much attention to my weight, simply because I wanted to pay more attention to my running and improving my running. And that's what I've done, and that's what's worked. It was really good to not think too much about my weight. Now, the idea, when I say not thinking too much about my weight, the idea, of course, was not just to eat what I want when I wanted, but I've really been trying to maintain my weight, and I've not done a bad job at that. It does fluctuate, I find. My weight is always fluctuated. I'm sure most people are the same. It can go up a couple of pounds quite easily, but it can also go down a couple of pounds quite easily. And that's kind of happened, but I've more or less been on a kind of level playing field throughout the summer. And now the summer's come to an end, and unfortunately, the dark nights are starting to close in again. I've even got my little jacket on with me today because I can feel the temperature's already changing. But now we've got to that point again, is where I'm now going to up my dosage a little bit more, just to get me to where I would like to be. So where I would like to be compared to where I am now is actually not that far to go. I'm hovering around that kind of 50-pound loss that I have been on for, well, a good few months now. But I still want to lose a little bit more, and it wants to be, I know before I've kind of said I don't really want to put a number on it, but actually I think I've changed my mind, and I think I do want to put a number on it now. And that's okay to do that. You know, I can change my mind as much as I bloody well choose. It's my mind. And I have changed it, and I think I want to target another 20 pounds. And if I can get another 20 pounds off, I think actually that puts me in a really good place where I want to be. Now I know some people might see me and see some photos, because I'll show you this photograph now on the screen. There's before and after photograph. This photograph, the after photograph, was just taken in the last week. That was actually last weekend, on Saturday when I was at Parkrun. And I think it's obvious there that you can see that I have lost quite a lot of weight, and it really does sort of stand out. I think part of that, though, if I'm being really honest, might just be to do with a good photo. Of course there is weight loss, but yeah, it is a particularly good photo for showing off the weight loss. So you might look at that and think, oh, you ain't got 20 pounds to lose, but I definitely have. I'm still classed as overweight, so there is weight there to lose, and I'm think when I get another 20 off that I'll be quite happy. So that's what we're going to aim for. Like I say, I did pick up my dosage a week ago, I think it was, where I picked it back up again. So we should start seeing or I should start seeing a bit more of a loss over the coming weeks. And my target is also still the same. Let's say it's the beginning of October now, and my target is still to try and come off the medication by the end of this year. Now really, at the very beginning, if we go right back to the beginning, I never for 1 second thought in my own mind, I might have said different, I don't remember, but I certainly know in my own mind, I never thought that I would be on it for as long as I have been. I didn't know that it would take this long. I think maybe I don't think I ever thought it was a wonder drug really, but you did kind of think, oh, maybe it would be quicker than this. But because ultimately, and I think that's a really valuable lesson for anyone to learn, and not just those that are looking to use medication to help them lose weight, but also those that are judging people for doing so. It's realizing that the medication isn't doing the work for you. You've still got to put in the work, just the same as anybody else. It doesn't dissolve fat or anything like this. You've got to put the work in. It just really, for me, I just find more than anything else, it gets my mind in a place where I'm able to do that, you know? So yeah, you still got to put the work in. So I think maybe that's why it's taken longer than I would hope. But I think in some respects, that means I've done it in a fairly healthy way as well. You know, it's all great saying, oh, I dropped 70 pounds in 4 months or something silly like that. But that's not really it's not a sustainable way to live, is it? And it's not really what you want to be doing. Yeah, so I'm really hoping that as we get towards the back end of this year, there's only 3 months to go in this year, then that is when I will look to come off and just go it alone and see how we get on. Lots of scare stories out there about how when you stop using this, that you're all of a sudden going to put all the weight back on. I don't know about that. That doesn't really mean that that's going to happen to everybody, and we can only hope that it doesn't happen to us. But I think it will be obvious quite quickly. I have to say, when I've lowered my dose, I've still been able to keep really good control. I mean, the fact that I've been hovering around that weight the whole time for the last few months over the summer shows you that I've been able to maintain my weight. Yes, you could argue that I've still had some of the medication inside of me, but I would also say that I've also had the urge to eat more than I am over the summer. Definitely had that. Definitely been a battle, and I would happily call it a battle. There are days where I'm eating a meal and I finish the meal and think, well, just go and grab yourself a snack. But I've also been able to have that control to say, no, Freddie, you don't really want it. You're being greedy. Stop it. So let's hope that's a new learned behaviour that will maintain once I stop using. Once I stop using. Yeah, that makes me sound like a drug addict. So I will quickly mention my challenge for anyone that is interested, and actually more so for anyone that wishes to donate, not to me, but I'm actually about to undertake a challenge called 22, well, is it called that? No, it's called 22 for Grace. Grace was the daughter of a friend of mine who unfortunately at 22 years old took her own life. And I'm here now to try and raise some money for Mind, which is a charity. Mind is a charity that obviously helps people that are having mental health struggles and helps them to, you know, get on the right path, if you like. And Grace actually did volunteer for Mind as well. Anyway, I've decided that I am going to raise some money for Mind over the coming weeks because, like I say, with Grace taking the action that she did, she's left a family devastated behind. Now dealing with that loss and, you know, that whole sadness behind it all. It's an awful, awful situation. And I've decided that what I'm going to do to honour both Grace's memory and her family, to show support as much as I can, is for 22 days I'm going to run 22 kilometres every day. And we chose 22 because that is the age that Grace was when she took that unfortunate action that she did. So I'm going to run 22 Ks every day for 22 days. So if you'd like to donate to that cause, the money goes straight to the charity. It does not touch my hands. There is a link down below in the description of this video. And don't forget, if you are in the UK, you can click on that other button. I think it's just for UK, where you can also click on the, what is it called, the whatever aid it is, where you get a little bit extra put in there as well. I can't remember what you call that now. You still there, dog? Good girl. So that's the challenge that I'm going to be doing in the coming weeks. And I mean, just to mention really how that's going to affect in terms of the weight loss, I have to obviously make myself conscious the whole time to ensure that I fuel correctly, because it is essentially just over a half marathon every day for just over 3 weeks. I have to make sure that I'm eating enough, and I will, because I've got that all under control now. My diet is well balanced, and yeah, I can make sure, I think, without sounding sort of big-headed, I don't have to worry too much about 22 Ks because it's not that far, but it's doing 22 of those in a row over that 22 days, you know, so I have to make sure that I am recovering properly and everything else. So if you are wanting to use any weight loss aids, then I would suggest, if you want to, you can jump onto MedExpress. MedExpress is where I've been purchasing mine from since I started. I have never changed suppliers. I know some people do, because you can make financial savings, but I chose to stay with them more so just because everything's just worked as I would hope it do. And I don't just mean the medication, I mean the deliveries and all of that. I think there's only maybe been one time where it was delayed, and that was delayed by a week or two, I forget. But largely that was just due to, well, if we go back, it's due to the price increase changes, I think. And with the increase it got people to panic a little bit, and everyone was just suddenly out there buying it, which was making it less available than it was. But other than that, I've stayed with the same company all the way through this. I do not work for them. I am not sponsored by them. They did reach out, and they did want to sponsor a couple of my videos, which I politely declined. But one thing that I do is have a discount code, which enables you to get a discount on your first order. Now you have to also understand that if you do use that discount code, yes, you do receive a discount on your first order, but I will also receive a small kickback in return. So if you don't want me to have that, please do not use it. But if you do, then crack on and get yourself a discount, because obviously these things are expensive now. And as far as I understand, you are not tied to that one brand of medication. You can obviously use that discount on other things as well. I think your order just needs to be more than, I think it's like £90 or £100, then you can get that discount, which I believe is £40 discount. So if you want to use that, please go ahead. If you don't, all is good. Now, I know I've mentioned this a few times and I've been talking about it for quite a while, but I am about to do something with it. I have talked about other people's stories and sharing those. Well, we're going to have that coming up soon. I have got my first person lined up. It's a guy called Peter, but I'll not tell you too much about Peter for now. We are going to get that recorded soon. I actually need to reply to Peter and try and get a date in the diary for the next week or two. So you might see that coming through as well. Peter, like I say, Peter's had a good story. It's been useful for him as well, using weight loss? He's lost his mates. Yeah, the weight loss aids or medication, whatever you want to call it, have been useful for Peter as well. And I think it'd be good to get insights from somebody else, you know, as to where he was before, why he decided to go down that path, and what results he's seen. But I'm really, really chuffed for Peter and how well it's gone. So that's going to give you some idea of the type of story that we're going to tell. I wouldn't necessarily say that Peter is finished, because I know that he has set himself a target, and that is a fitness target. And I'm really looking forward to not just sharing that with you, but actually seeing him achieve those goals and hoping, in fact, I know I will do, if we get him to achieve that goal, I know that I'll be there on the day supporting him all the way, and we'll probably get that on video as well. But yeah, that is coming. And if you also have a story you want to tell, then please, by all means, let me know. Yeah, if you've got a story to tell, we'll come and have a chat with me. I prefer to do it in person, so if you are based in the Northeast, that would be amazing. But we can also do something online as well, potentially, and look to do that. So give me a shout, drop me a message. You can either email me at freddyrunscontact@gmail.com, or you can send me a message over on Instagram or Facebook. They're probably the two best ways. I would ask that you use Instagram. That's the one that I get notifications when I get messages. My Facebook, I don't turn on the notifications. I just jump on there as and when and check them. But Instagram's the one. Yeah, and I look forward to sharing your stories. And, and I don't just mean if you've had a good experience, although of course we want to share the good experiences, but we also want to share the lessons that you've learned. And if you have got lessons that you've learned that you think, you know what, this is valuable. And it doesn't matter what part of the journey you're in. If you're at the very beginning and you've learned something, you're in the middle and you've learned something, or like I say, you've come to the end and perhaps you tried it and it didn't work for you, then give me a shout and let's talk about it. Let's share that experience with other people that might be in the same boat. Right, so I hope that's given you some sort of update and let you know where I am and what I'm doing. And yeah, thanks for sticking around, and I will catch up with you very soon.